Hey everybody, David here, and welcome to the ASOG podcast. In this episode, we sit down with Seth Thorson, owner and president of Eurotech Automotive Repair, which has several locations in Minnesota. He also owns LMB Bavarian, which is independent technical information for vehicles manufactured by BMW. Full disclosure, I have Seth blocked on social media. What would cause me to block a successful and prominent business owner like Seth? Listen to find out. But before we get into it, make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast listening app, you know what to do. Make sure it's automatically set to download the latest episode. And now, here we go. If they're mad at me and they're so nice and they like everybody, but I'm the asshole, like, okay, well, I did something wrong. But then there's a lot of people in the industry like, don't care.
You were getting ready to name somebody.
No, I'm not naming individuals. Are you crazy? That's rude.
In your face.
No, I was trying not to cuss. It was flip you.
So Seth, yesterday you had a panel, right? It was you and Donnie. I don't know if it's a panel or...
Oh, hold on. Because I got him blocked on everything, I can't tell him directly. So there's this guy on Facebook. He chased me down. Out here. And he pulls up his app and he goes, I missed this. And it was you and Donnie talking about Tesla. And he's like, I missed it. How do I find these people? And I'm like, I don't know. Email Nastif? I'm like, tell you what, join ASOG. And Seth is on there. Why don't you message him? And I don't know what he wanted. But he's a shop owner in Texas. So if you get a random message from Dutch telling you, hey, contact this guy. I don't know what he wants, but could be a subscription. I don't know.
Yeah.
So get in contact with him. I have no idea what his name is. I've got his picture, so hold on.
Oh, boy. So my question for you is, right, you got LMV Bavarian. What's the Mercedes version?
The LMV Mercedes, which is nothing. We share a platform, but I don't have anything to do on the Mercedes side.
Right. So my question is, are you going to do the same thing with EV? Is that something you're thinking about?
Yes, we're working on it. We formed a company called EV Tech LLC, and we are working on tools, training, development for a lot of different cars. Right now, it's Tesla only, but I don't really plan to get into legacy manufacturers other than the German stuff that we already do. But we're working on some stuff, hopefully, when we Lucid and Rivian and all the other startups try to work on that type of
That's pretty cool.
program.
So, a lot of guys, like you look in ASOG, and there's a lot of discussions about EV. And one of the discussions is, it's going to be way longer than what they say it's going to be. The infrastructure can't support it. All this information out there about it, And they're saying that, look, not only is it not feasible, but then you got the other side who says it's feasible, it's going to happen, but we're not going to have anything to work on anymore. Now, you said something yesterday that stood out to me because you were bringing up the fact they still have to be worked on, right? Mm-hmm. What's being done to these things?
We just had a Tesla 2016 Model S in dealer, or Tesla, since they don't have dealers, Tesla Direct, essentially. Had replaced the door handles with Gen 3. They left one Gen 1. Customer had 2 door handles that were broken. Well, Tesla gave him a huge estimate, and we said, we'll bring it over, we'll take a look. We rebuild the door handles. I built my own kits. I stocked my own kits. Rebuilding the door handles, we got in and we built one. Driver's side one ended up being a Gen 3, and we're like, you can't rebuild those.
Right.
Because for guys that don't know, the early cars had micro switches. So you pull in the handle, or you present the handle, it presents, hits the micro switch and stops. You pull it again, hits the third micro switch and opens. 3 micro switches.
Right.
Retracts in, hits the micro switch, the motor stops. That's the early system. Late system, they update them the Hall effect sensors.
Right.
The Hall effect sensor sees the motor turn and stops and starts to handle. Now, they had to add a third module and a retrofit harness to make the Gen 3's update work. And so we get into the car, we pull it apart. Crap, it's a Gen 3. We can't rebuild it because it's not the micro switches that failed. It's probably the handle. Is it the handle? Is it the module? Couldn't figure out what's going on. We get in there, we hook up Toolbox, which is now available as we were talking. And we go in there, we look, and we go, okay, Gen 3 door handle. We run the test. There's actual test. Hall sensors are all reading. Weird. Motor can run, but it's not working in the car. Well, that's really weird. So then we go through and do a recal, and all of a sudden it starts working. Now the passenger side stops working. Like, oh, great. What the heck do we do now? So then we recal both sides at the same time. Everything comes working. Car's been gone, a couple weeks. Customer's ecstatic because he was handed one estimate by Tesla. He was handed an estimate by us, which consequently was more than Tesla for the door handle rebuild. Our door handle rebuilds are more expensive than Tesla.
Right.
But Tesla gives you a 12-month warranty. That's it.
Right.
We give a 336. Customer is willing to pay us
for that warranty
because they know the door handles fail, and he's had enough problems with the door handle. He's sick of paying the bill.
Right.
He goes, well, if Seth will give me a 3-year warranty on this thing, I'll go see Seth. So my price is more, but I'm providing a warranty on it that nobody else will touch. So he wanted us to do a door handle.
Right.
So we did one for that repair, and then we also did the recalibration. He goes, well, just bill me for the recal. That's awesome. He was super happy.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, a shop owner wants to get into EV. What's the first step, right? And I mean, is it even worth for a standard shop owner to get into it right now?
So right now, EV as a general is just like working any other car. Tesla specific, the hard thing with Tesla, there was a question brought up, I can't order parts. Well, anybody can. You got to go to Tesla EPC. You file yourself as a body shop with them. They know you're not a body shop. That's the only option they have on their drop-down.
Right.
And then you send them all the pictures, tax ID, and you can order parts direct through Tesla.
Okay.
The problem is Tesla sells parts at the same price to their customers as they sell to you, as they sell to Tesla. There's no markup.
Right.
Their labor rates are pretty low, so there's not a lot of margins to be made either on the labor or the parts side currently on Tesla.
Is that sustainable, though?
I don't know how sustainable it is, but Tesla is making a lot of money on selling the cars, unlike other traditional manufacturers. They make a pretty penny on those cars.
Well, they don't have a dealer network, and so
they don't have a dealer network.
Yeah, the rumor in Kansas City was they were running 60-hour shifts for techs just to keep up, and it was months to get your car serviced.
They are, and their techs are not incentivized at all. Their techs are straight up salary. Tesla provides all the tools. So you want us to talk about flat? You could diverge this conversation tremendously away from that, but
well, people are signing up though. I just don't think they have enough.
Yeah,
just for the sheer volume of cars that they're selling and are breaking down. Apparently,
they don't. In the meeting we had with Tesla through NASDAQ, they did say that they know they can't scale service fast enough, but I don't know that they will change their model of what they sell their parts for. Now, this is where the aftermarket comes into effect of what can we produce?
Hold on. But if you can't buy parts, how's a normal retail customer buying parts for their Tesla?
Well, if you own the Tesla, you can create a service request on the app, and you create a service request for parts, and then you go to your service center and pick them up.
And Tesla's okay, Mr. Random Person, you're going to fix your own Tesla? Or you're going to take this box of parts and...
Tesla has, if you look on their EPC, they have restricted parts.
Okay.
So, no, the consumer can buy certain parts.
Okay. So it almost becomes like who cares? I don't think the normal Tesla customer is going to buy their own parts. I mean, some of them are. Some of them are techie, like hardcore. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you going to go buy your own Tesla parts? No. It's like, okay, then. This is my price.
Since there's no markup on parts, if it takes 1 to 3 weeks to order a part, if we're one part short, I have told the customer to go in their app and just go pick up the part because there's no markup.
Right. Yeah.
It's really hard in the Tesla service game right now because the customer knows what Tesla charges for the repair. They're selling the part at this. It's, and you're going to get guys that are going to say, just mark it up and that's your cost and that's what you have to do. But
David, flick that camera right there.
You're trying to get into early adoption. And it's, I don't want to say you always have to be price sensitive, but to some degree, you can't be 30, 40% higher than Tesla, even if they are that long a wait.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, here's the thing so my biggest question for you is like, say we're moving forward with this and we've got shop owners who want to do this. I mean, is it viable right now, though? I mean, is it even, like, we're seeing more and more hybrid. We're seeing more and more EV. Is it a viable business market for them to begin to pursue that? I mean, clearly that's what's coming. right? We know that's what's coming. So, I mean, is it viable for them? How do they get started? I guess that's my question.
It's viable if you're willing to be one of the first adopters, early adopters movement circle, and know that you're writing off a substantial amount of this as R&D and research and development and marketing. So this is where knowing your profit and loss, knowing your financials, where do you allocate? We tend to allocate the full repair of what would normally be a full markup. Right. And then we discount the repair off to our training. We discount some of the repair off the marketing. And so we show where our costs on this repair are going, because that's how to run a proper P&L. That's how to run a proper P&L, right? What would this repair have to charge to be profitable?
To be profitable.
But we can't do it to be profitable.
The rest, yeah.
So I write off, $500 to marketing. I write $300 to training.
I like that.
How do you...
Hold on, I'm trying to think.
How do big companies do it?
I think I can do this with other repairs, though.
Well, you got to be careful, because you can justify sub discounting a lot of repairs. But
I know.
I don't discount any of mine. I bill it full cost and then P&L.
Yeah, that's the same.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what I do.
Playing games.
But I mean, emerging technology, I think you really do have to look at, if I'm going into a new car line or new emerging technology, every company has an R&D budget. Every company has a training budget. You're going to have to expense some of that out. Right. It's, or if you want to wait till everybody's figured it all out, that's fine. To be profitable in EVs, the biggest thing we're waiting for is aftermarket parts.
Right.
Because then we get our normal parts margin, our labor rates are relative, and we have longer warranties.
I mean, you've got enough EVs out there. Chevrolet's been selling them for almost 10 years, right? I mean, I know Tesla's been around since, 2007? Well, not counting the Roadster, but when the first Model S came out. 2011. So, I mean, there are enough Priuses on the road. I guess it depends on your area. So if there's enough Priuses on the road, enough Chevrolet Bolts
seem like David's like
Leafs.
an ideal client.
Right? I love Priuses. Are you kidding me? I'd work on Priuses all day long.
Justin Allen has Priuses, and that's what because he's a hunter rep, so he goes all over North Carolina, and he's like, I couldn't imagine driving something else.
They're awful to drive.
Well, I mean, but for him, think about that. Think about how much he drives just in one day.
Sure.
I mean, because we're so spread out where we're at. Right? Yeah. You might drive 200 miles and not be anywhere.
I like Priuses because it's easy to justify the cost of almost any repair to a Prius owner. They come in with 250,000 miles and they're like, do I really drop $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on this car? And you're like, I would. No problem. If the body's in good shape, whatever. Right. Easy to justify the cost because they're such good cars. They're reliable. They last. Really so I'd go Prius all day long. Now the Chevrolet Volt, that thing's a flaming pile. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a flaming pile.
It literally is on fire.
I mean,
that is a constant check engine light, chasing this, that, and the other, cooling system problems, and then the engine's garbage. They're fun to drive though. They're much more fun to drive than the Prius.
I did actually take in a Dodge ProMaster van with a check engine light to our shop the other day.
I saw that. Hey, did you see that? No, you got him blocked. Never mind.
Yeah, we had a Dodge ProMaster van with a check engine light. You Dodge in my shop, that's kind of weird, but you know what the step one of fixing the check engine light is? Take the gas tank out, the drive shaft out, the engine and transmission out, and the cluster out. We fixed the check engine light and put a Tesla drive unit in. No more problems.
That's pretty cool.
We fixed the Dodge problem, check engine light problem. Don't even bother scanning it. Just remove all the stuff. That's how you fix a Dodge.
Tell the story of that. Why was that done?
That customer is a customer in Pennsylvania that he is taking that van, and he has an electric mowing company, lawn care company, and he charges extra money to be a completely green energy company.
Wow.
He's going to put solar panels on the van, a ramp. He's going to drive all his electric lawnmowers in there, show up at people's houses. He does completely green.
How did you charge for that job?
To do a van, parts and labor, you're going to be anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 depending on options.
Okay.
Plus the van.
Did you come up with this, or is there a kit?
There's a company out of California, and we're prototype testing the feasibility of installing it outside their facilities.
Oh, that's cool.
It is really cool. So You're saying parts, though. Parts are a big holdup, right?
For Tesla.
Well, I'm just saying aftermarket parts.
I can get parts from my
EV.
Volt all day.
Well, I know. But I'm saying, especially with Tesla, though. I mean,
But what I don't understand the obsession with. Like, I understand your obsession with Tesla. Like, that's a brand new market.
Yeah.
You're trying to be at the forefront. Makes perfect sense. You've got the training company. I mean, that fits
I have
you. But
multiple entities that.
Yeah.
If you're just a shop. It's a hard.
normie people, like normie shops. Like, what's the obsession with Tesla?
Dutch just said, "Don't start. None won't be none." I don't know what's up with that.
I didn't say anything bad about Dutch. I said he was very direct.
He said it was to me.
You?
I must have said something.
What's that?
I don't know. But maybe I should say something like, I don't know.
Because you asked about me or me blocking Seth on Facebook.
No, I'm sure that's not what he's talking about. He's probably worried I'm going to say something like, I don't sell parts and labor. I sell a repaired vehicle. And if I say that,
Well, we can talk about that later.
he's going to get really upset.
Seth already looked at his watch. He's very busy.
I know. He is.
No, I got a tech problem. That's all right.
He does that. Hey,
A
listen.
tech problem. Did
it
the guy
doesn't
show up
matter-
late?
It doesn't matter what's going on. Seth does that. That's
So
just what Seth does.
if you have a supremely talented tech and the guy doesn't show up, but like 6 to 8 minutes late on the daily, do you bail on him?
We document it and we work on change of behavior. If there's no change of behavior in a certain amount of time, yes, that tech would probably be let go in our company. We don't have much tolerance for
Tardiness.
and we have a change plan. We have some documents we work on with them, but yes, we do expect our people to be there.
What's your game plan? Like, kind of break that down a little bit. I'll tell you, like, nobody's on time at my shop. Ever.
We just switched topics like 180 degrees here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Oh,
must not
he
listen to the
doesn't listen to the podcast. I can tell you that.
Yeah, as far as my guys, I mean, if we're booking appointments, we're booking rides, our team depends on each other.
Yeah.
So you're also laying your teammate down when you're not there on time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Simon Sinek start with why, right? We're going to explain why it's important to be on time.
Right.
Why that you are an integral part to your team. Why, even if you're the porter and you don't show up on time and all of a sudden we had a customer
Screws up
ride
production, yeah.
that
Yeah.
now the customer bails, we lose a tech production. Everybody's a part of this team.
Right.
And we ask that people be on time. We get it. If it's like your kid's sick, you're going to be late. I mean, that stuff happens. But
Yeah.
Right.
if it's habitual, like even if it's 6 or 8 minutes, what level of incompetency are you willing to put up in your business? What level? How much are you? Okay, so you let that go. Then what do you let go next? What do you let go next? What do you let go next?
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. I understand the slippery slope argument. I guess, and at least in my shop, it's like so relaxed. I like yours. It's very obvious it's a well-oiled machine, right? And that's how you demand it has to be a well-oiled machine. It's not at my shop. It's a hangout place.
Well, I wouldn't say it's as much as what I demand is to people under me.
Yeah, but it starts with you. Like, if you
Right.
don't set the tone and you don't come in there, like, I mean, we were moseying, and I made him late because, that's the thing. So
I am a stickler for time because I was here at 9 o'clock.
you weren't here, and she was supposed to take that in.
What?
The sign,
What
the 9 to 1 o'clock sign.
It says
Well,
9?
no, because we'll have to like cross it off and be like, till we're done,
Till done.
till done.
Well,
I just and that could be absolutely an issue if you. I guess if you bring them in and you set the tone, these are ground rules. You have to show up on time
It starts
because
with
we're
onboarding.
on. Yeah,
It starts from onboarding. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
laid out.
well, and you've got a really cool training, right? Have you ever seen his training or any of the videos?
I haven't
from-
seen the train mule, but I know he was
Right,
building
I mean,
the
like
train. I remember when you were building the train mule.
Yeah, it's extensively version 3 of maybe even what anybody else has seen now. It's on
Yeah.
V3 of revisions.
How much time does it take to do that? Because, I mean, that's like a full-time job, right?
I don't do it. I dream up the idea and then I got a team of people that
Right.
make things happen.
That's what you
Yes,
need
I
is a
got-
team of people, Lucas.
I've got a team of people.
Do you?
They're busy. They got things to do.
Well, I mean, so okay.
Yeah, he
Dan,
does. You're right. You do have a train. All of this got set up by your team of people,
Right?
and it was commendable what he did. It was a lot of hard work.
I mean, to answer that question, I task Daniel with my vision of what we want,
Right.
and I give him timelines. And if he can't meet the timelines, he goes, "It's not because I'm incompetent, Seth. There's too much. I can't do it." So at that point,
Right.
it's like, okay, what do you need to get done? I need an assistant part time. Great. So I believe in this project. What's the budget to do this project? Do we have that in the budget? Okay, so we can hire an assistant. She's part-time in college, $15 an hour. You can direct her. We'll set up. We use Reich, which is a project management. We'll set up a project management software. You delegate down to her. If we give you all this, Daniel, can you meet your timeline?
Right.
Yeah, if you give me all that, I'll meet my timeline. And then I hold them accountable to meet the timeline.
Well, so
That's how you get it done.
Yeah, that's how you get
I
done.
mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's pretty detailed. Like it goes from
It's very corporate world. Like that's
Right.
what it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't come from a corporate background though. So.
Yeah, but you're implementing things that are practices that you see in much larger corporations. You know, $1 billion corporation functions like that. Like that's how they get anything done. Otherwise, you know, it'd be mass chaos.
Well,
You've got 800 employees. I mean, how do you deal with all that?
It falls to the bottom of the scale. Anything that's not a priority falls to the bottom and doesn't get done. So if you don't make it a priority and you don't have prioritization of your tasks that you want done, it can fall down. And there are times where we recycle tasks. We have a task right now. I was talking to Daniel before I came over here that we're moving. Daniel's my CEO of the company, runs all the locations, ops guy. We have a task that we're moving down the list and reprioritizing something up the list. And we know that we have to then talk together and go, okay, we're going to move this one up. We feel this is more important right now. Timeline on this is now this date. Timeline on this is now this date.
Right. In other words, communication, right? Continual communication to determine where we want to go.
Yeah.
And
Wednesday morning or Wednesdays are meetings. And whether I'm in town, out of town, he's out of town, we communicate on Wednesdays. That's our one-to-one meeting.
Right.
Sure.
That's pretty cool.
I have too much ADD for all that nonsense.
Yeah. David.
I'd be throwing just projects and projects like, hey, I got this new idea. Slap. Get it done in 3 weeks. I got to go.
Well, I'm very much like that. So Daniel has what he calls 12 notebooks of crazy Seth ideas. And if I mention a couple times, he goes, son of a gun, I actually have to get this done.
Yeah.
Right.
But then it's a matter of him communicating back to me going, not going to happen, or you're crazy, or...
So he does push back?
Yeah, that's healthy. Healthy tension is good.
Yeah.
If he was just a yes man, I don't think,
it would work.
I get frustrated with him. But if he's just a yes man, it's not good.
Sure. Is he a different personality type?
Oh, very much.
Yeah. He's
more a project task manager. Like, I can't get these guys to do this. I'm frustrated. He walks into one of my... he's a details guy. I mean, he's great. He walks into one of my stores and go, this guy bought his old monitor. This isn't the company-issued monitor. What the heck are we doing? It doesn't look uniform.
Yeah.
He's the guy that will... he'll hold the people accountable. Right. But he's good at doing it in a very caring way.
Right. And Seth's just like, screw you. Well, I mean...
Smash the monitor down. You're fired. Get out.
I'd probably just ignore it personally. But Daniel's really good at holding all that stuff and putting all the pieces together and really that accountability aspect.
That's good.
Well, I've got a brother who runs the other family business. And he very, very much is that entrepreneurial mind, right? He can go in and he can see the vision of what he wants it to be, and he can think really big. But he doesn't have anybody to kind of bring that down to a realistic world. Right. And that's huge because you kind of need somebody to get you back in your bounds, especially when you think that way. There's big visions, big dreams of what you can do, the things that could happen. Right. You've got to have somebody that can bring that back to a realistic level. Because if you don't, I mean, you're not effective. You're wasting time on stuff that's not going to happen. Right?
Yeah. I mean, our dynamic change, we read the book Rocket Fuel.
Right. Rocket Fuel is
a book on integrator and visionary.
Mm-hmm.
And that book really changed me and Daniel's dynamic because I probably would have fired him or he probably would have quit because it was just constant headbutting. And we understand our personalities. We understand that he can't function without my ideas, but I can't achieve my vision without his implementation.
Sure.
And it goes further than you can get into full EOS systems, which we run a small version of EOS or traction. But that type of relationship and understanding each other's personalities helped us to grow to be able to do the things he does. And on my tech support training side, I got Justin, who you guys know, Morgan, and he's really good at implementing things. We had an idea for a transfer case class, and I had the idea, but Justin really handled all the details, and then I flew him out, and I had an idea how we wanted to film and do this, but Justin handled, okay, well, we can do it this way, and got the ideas down, and Justin's a great one at doing that as well. I mean, I got a really good team of people that implement in my various aspects of my businesses. I got a rental property, and I got Megan, who's my executive assistant, and she's really good at delegating out the rental stuff and management companies, and so I don't have to deal with it.
Sure. That's what you need to do, is understand my personality type.
What, diva? Is that what you're getting at here? Dang.
Explain to me how I'm a diva.
You listen, I have never seen somebody who is so particular about everything in my entire life. I mean, I swear to God, Trisha posted something about M&M's the other day, and he's like, I would like to have a bowl with just one color M&M's. I don't like all the different color M&M's.
So David, if
that was
you
a
want,
fantastic
David, if you want that, if you want that, 1.6 miles down the strip here, M&M World, you can get as many single color M&Ms as you want.
I don't even need M&Ms, dude.
Man.
What was particular was the Fiji water.
Right,
it's got to be the Fiji water.
The Fiji water.
It's got to be Fiji water. Yeah. If you go out of town, it's Fiji water the whole time.
We've defined our roles in the podcast. He's the whining, bitching complainer.
I'm the complainer, yes.
If you're smart, you walk down the road, you go to Walgreens, you can buy the Fiji water for way less money.
Yeah,
I know, but it's a matter of
I carry it back to my room.
Well, yeah, I don't drink the $26 a pop Fiji water from the hotel room.
Yeah, dude, did you see that?
No, I don't touch it.
Well, of course, I'm just saying. Like, if
I bring like a little yellow coordinate rope on to make sure that
don't even look at it. Yeah,
dude, if you so much as pick up that bottle of water, they charge you $27.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you got to unscrew the top and suck it out, and then fill it back with
I wonder if we could transfer that technology into my shop. You pick up that oil filter, it's getting built to the ticket.
That's a good idea.
There you go. He's like, well, I've got it already.
No, we beta tested something for BMW about 5 years ago where we were doing consignment inventory for BMW. They had weighted shelves. When we removed the part, BMW billed us.
That's awesome.
They had it and scanned
crazy.
it, and then they would do a physical inventory once a month. BMW corporate canceled it. Our dealer loved it because we'd carry $10,000 of BMW fast-moving parts in inventory. We grab it, it billed us. We didn't have to inventory it. They checked it.
Right.
There was a consistent bill coming in. Yeah, that makes sense.
Bill for what we used. And we got a steeper discount on what we consigned.
They poo-pooed it? Corporate?
BMW corporate. I think the technology probably was a little early.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they bring it back or somebody else brings it back because that thing was awesome.
That's pretty neat.
You don't think it's at all a move away from even supporting independence, or do you feel that some of these German brands are pro-independent repair shop?
There's different divisions within the brand. So you're going to have the dealers that want to protect themselves. You have the sales department that does, but then you have BMW has an after-sales team and a rep that visits the shop once in a while. I mean, BMW has divisions that try to support it, but you're still limited at buying through the dealer, right? There's not one voice.
Yeah.
So that gets challenging depending on your relationship with your OEM dealer.
Right. So, I mean, where do you see us going, right? As an industry, 5-6 years. I mean, you're one that everybody knows, right? We all have the same friends. We all run in the same circles. Everybody values your opinion. Where are we going, right? What's going to change? You know, because there's so many people, they're afraid of the EV. They're afraid of ADAS. They're afraid of what's coming. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to stay right where I'm at. It's not ever going to come to me. You know, David Felton the other day, he made a comment. He said, it'll be 20 years before I see that where I'm at. Where are we going, and what does that look like for the smaller independent guys?
Well, everybody knows how to do a SWOT analysis, right?
Right.
I would encourage you to then start doing a pest analysis for your own belief.
What's a pest analysis?
Political, economic, social, technology.
Okay.
Same type of thing as a SWOT, right? Pest is a different terminology. I think you're going to see the EVs are going to move faster or slower depending on our political climate.
Okay.
And I don't want to get in a political discussion. That's not what this is about. But
we can do it.
We could, but we're not. We're going to avoid that. Politics affect what we do, whatever side on your aisle. So if, let's just say Biden gets his transportation bill passed.
Right.
That includes
knock on wood.
It includes an increase in gas tax, a lot. It includes a lot of EV incentives. You're going to see the needle move much faster because there's economic, there's political, and there's economic. The two sides of the pest analysis.
Some of these corporations are doing that already, though.
Yeah.
I mean, GM, all EV by 2035, forced the dealerships out that weren't willing to put in the infrastructure. So how much of this is really going to be pushed by the political climate.
Well, it's pushed by political because they're responding to the political requests and they're responding to.
Do you think that though? What's that acronym like? EPO corporations.
I can't remember the.
I'm gonna look it up.
But I mean, that the reality is how fast we'll move is going to largely dependent on what happens in the political environment, because that will what they're allowed to sell and not allowed to sell will determine how fast it happens.
Right.
So, again, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You just, as a business owner, what I tell all my people, as a business owner, my job is to ensure the viability of my company.
Right.
And so I need to understand what's going on in the political realm to understand where I need to move my pieces.
Right.
So that's my job, is to not really care which side, but understand the political stature and what's going on. So my job is to ensure the viability of my customers, my company, for my employees. That's the job as a leader in the company.
Well, and that's what's really interesting about what David Felton said the other day, right? Because that's really what he was talking about, is he brought up the fact that, hey, listen, in my area, we're just not going to see that here in the way that we see it in other areas, right? We're very, very rural, right?
But you will if gas prices are $10 a gallon.
Yeah, exactly. You have to see that change coming.
If they keep going.
Right, you can't just be closed-minded.
If in the next 4 years we have a change and all of a sudden they roll back, EVs will slow down. If they go forward, if we keep going forward with the marching orders that we're currently having, and you need to plan for both, if you see $10 a gallon gas and you see $15,000 rebates off an EV, and all of a sudden you're looking at a $40,000 EV that's now $15,000 tax rebate, you're now looking at a $25,000 EV, you're looking at $7 a gallon gas, you're looking at how much gas you use. Will they do things like Europe?
Yeah.
You guys know there's a tax to drive into city centers if you do not have an EV. So every time you enter city center, there's a tax. So let's say Uber and all these companies that buy these vehicles, they're very big player in all the people that own those vehicles.
Right.
To some degree, even the individual drivers. Even if they're doing it part-time. If City of Minneapolis, City of Charlotte, some of these cities start charging a tax to enter their city without an EV, you're going to see those guys say, well, I need to get rid of this car.
Sure.
And you're going to see...
It's going to shift very quickly.
And you got to look at what other parts of the world are doing, what's going on across the country. If these things start coming to fruition, you'll see ED adoption come much quicker. If they don't, you'll see it stagnate out further.
Right.
So we could be 5 to 6 years, but then again, you're not going to have those cars in your bays for 3 to 5 years after. So at the short term, we're 8 years away from mass EVs in our service bays. Right. At the long term, we could be 15 years.
It's ESG, ESG, environmental, social, and governance, and it's a corporate philosophy where they no longer prioritize maximization of profit. We want to see environmental impact, social impact. Right. We want to see those things first before we generate a profit, and so they'll generate less of a profit because they're forwarding something that they believe is good for society as a whole.
Right. Well, and I mean, so if
so it may not be like political. It may not be the government saying you have to do it this way, but you get enough ideologues, and I'm not saying that in a negative connotation, people that believe something very specifically come into corporate power, like the CEO now of GM. She made that decision, and you could say, well, she's looking at what is coming down the road. Look at the elections last night. This can shift and change, all of a sudden swing way the other way very quickly, and all of a sudden all of this push for EV gets squashed. But if these people are in power, they're going to push it regardless. If the only thing you can buy from GM is EV, whether the government says so or not,
right?
As opposed to a top-down enforcement, like you were saying, the city centers just everybody taxing the crap out of you to ensure that you get into the type of vehicle they want you to drive.
Well, and that's where my big push is. Every leader in the organization should start looking at all this and draw some things out and understand and make their own informed decisions, not listen to 3 talking heads in the middle of AAPEX, right? They should
They should
should do their
absolutely.
own- they
The
should
ones
do
that
their
are
own
not
thing.
listening are going to be out of business in 3 to 5 years.
I mean, I know that sounds bad, but seriously, like if you're on the downslope, in other words, if you're on the way out, you're looking at retirement, things like that. That's one thing.
I'm just saying the people that don't listen to this podcast are the worst. And they deserve everything they get in life.
You're an one thing that let's see, Brett Fadley says old Palmetto should be good at pest analysis. You've not touched the camera to keep it awake, have you?
What's that?
It's a fact that's, I know there's a lot of things to do as a shop owner, but it's a fact of something you should be trying to do.
You have to do it, right? I mean, you have to stay forward.
What is your job? What's the biggest job as the owner of your company? Ensuring the viability of the company.
Sure.
Right? Jim Kokonis wants to know, what about only offering tax rebates only on vehicles made by union workers?
That's another political move right now, and that will probably hurt Tesla and excel to
That's going to hurt
other things.
a lot of the import or
The Germans.
Honda, Nissan. They use
Well-
all non-unionized labor.
Yep. Yeah, and then who knows how that'll. I mean, it's $5,000, right? So it's not like we're talking.
Was this in the Biden plan?
Yeah, it's in. So they get $7,500 rebate if it's non-union and under $90,000 or something. There's a threshold, so you can't get it. You can't get a rebate on a luxury car. So there's I forget what the exact threshold is. Please don't quote me on that number, but and then it's $5,000 additional if it's a union-made car.
I have such a huge problem with this.
I don't.
Toyota.
Personal beliefs are different than what we need to look at as a business owner.
No.
to make informed
I
decisions.
understand. I mean, I understand that's your direction, but it's not how I operate. I will go down.
At all.
I'll go down in
he's got-
flaming
he's got
wreckage and
banners
enjoy
and
it.
signs.
I know, right? He
What's that?
plugs sidewalls.
What's that? I plug sidewalls.
We all saw the ticket. Okay, so those of you who
I'm gonna
don't
block
know,
you too.
who are watching,
I told you
That's
I'm
what this is
sensitive.
all
I'm
about.
very sensitive.
that's what this is all about. Seth said something about David's banner as a sign, and it
good
really
Lord.
upset me.
You never said anything about my banner as a sign. Did you say something to me about my banner?
No, I
as a
said
sign?
something
That's
to
when
Lucas. I couldn't talk to you anymore.
That when I said that, you blocked him. When I was picking on you about your banner and the sign, that's when you blocked him.
No. He was getting upset about the Patreon account. That's when I blocked him because he kept commenting about the Patreon account. I'm like, block, done. Did you ever become a patron?
No.
Oh,
Well,
there you
you're
go.
here now. You can share your grievances with everyone.
No, that's all right. You guys got other sponsors now, so you're good.
What's that?
You get other
We don't have any sponsors. What are you talking about? You kidding me?
We don't do the sponsor thing. We hang out with our friends and we talk.
No,
crap.
we asked for sponsors. Popeye's Chicken.
Oh yeah,
Popeye's Chicken.
M&Ms.
No,
M&Ms.
I'm not a big fan of M&Ms.
I like M&Ms.
I'm a Mike and
Only
Ike
one
guy.
color
So this
M&Ms.
is all about you then. I see.
My kid. Yes. I'm a diva. You said that earlier.
Diva Dave.
Diva Dave.
Sony wants to contribute cameras. We'll pitch for Sony. Rode.
Yeah,
I love their
right.
microphones. Fantastic
Yeah.
micro. Shure
Yeah.
wants to hook us up. We're using Shure headsets and
There you
Rode
go.
mics.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll take sponsors. Eurotech can become a sponsor of the podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
LMB Bavarian.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, hey, I do have a serious question though. Mercedes, right? A while back, somebody asked one of our live streams about the deal that's going on with Mercedes, and asked if the whole big deal. Explain that in a way that folks can understand that. What's going on with that?
Well, Mercedes is not following the agreement, the MOA they assigned with NASDAQ. And
Okay.
there are some actions that are being taken that I really can't talk about. But
Obviously.
there are actions being taken by NASDAQ to actively bring Mercedes back into compliance with
Right.
the agreements that they signed with the aftermarket.
Okay.
So that's what NASDAQ works for you for. And the hard thing is any government agency, any regulatory boards, any times working with the OEMs, none of this happens fast. Everybody wants it to happen the minute that they want it to happen.
Right.
None of this stuff happens.
They just have to go down to the DMV and realize how fast government works.
Right, man.
But none of this happens fast. I can assure you that there are a lot of SAR complaints filed against Mercedes, and that NASDAQ is very aware and working on many, many solutions. And if you want more information, we have a meeting coming up in November, a general meeting, where you can ask questions and we can give direct answers. You're also going to have a time you can look at the NASDAQ website. We do release information throughout there. And that would be more Donnie's job. So you really want all that inside information. That's more Donnie's job. I'm just a board member. Right. But Donnie would really have all of that information of what can be released and what can't be. So I don't want to speak too much of
course not.
On that.
And, so look, here's the thing. And me and you have talked about this before. A lot of our listeners, a lot of the members of ASOG don't even know what NASDAQ is. Right. And then you've got the others who say, look, I've got this tool and it does everything I need. I don't have a reason to have a VSP. What do you say to somebody that says that?
So going forward, I think it'll be much more required. You're going to see SDRM, secure data. You're going to see that be a bigger player. One of the talks with Tesla right now, and this was released on the stage, so I can talk about it. One of the talks with Tesla is they're trying to crack NASDAQ, and we're trying to penetrate Tesla, and they're doing back and forth attacks to see if it's secure. And one of the things Tesla's looking for before they release everything to independent is, do we have a secure platform that we can ID who is accessing our cars? And what are they doing to our cars? And are they are they licensed? Are they bonded? Are they a upstanding citizen? Are they doing all the things that they should be doing?
Well, so there's a lot of people who hate on NASDAQ. And they also stand under the guise they want to improve the industry, right? Doesn't it stand to reason that doing exactly what you just talked about, making sure the person working on the car is genuinely a professional, doesn't it stand to reason that makes our industry better? Yeah,
there's plenty of non-board seats that are committee seats that are very much in need of people. So somebody wants to put their money where their mouth is, reach out to Donnie and take a committee seat. There's all sorts of committee seats.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like, everybody was complaining about it, but there's nominations and there's the option to talk. And anytime I've ever asked Donnie a question or anybody involved with them,
it's forthright.
Yeah, they're pretty straightforward and pretty open and honest about things.
When we released the 2.0, when they released 2.0, I wasn't involved with NASDAQ at that point, but there was a lot of challenges, right?
Yeah.
Now there's tech support calls. They answer calls back. If you don't have something done, they'll get back to you in a pretty timely manner,
right,
and help you through it. The object is not to lock people out. And even if some people have some stuff they've done in the past, if you disclose it, there's often remediation. There's work that can be done to approve you. It's not that you're permanently, but we got to make sure that you're doing the right thing. You're accessing secure data from the manufacturers. And the statistics show, and they can track a stolen car almost back to who released the key code and where it came from, and if they shared a login or shared data. And you think if that car comes back to and sometimes they didn't do it on purpose, or sometimes it was a legal transaction, but you don't think that there shouldn't be a phone call and tracing of that?
Right. So what happens to these folks who have this equipment that's doing some of this?
Hold on. I have a question.
Okay. Let's ask it.
Is it more car theft, or is it more the manufacturer trying to protect their intellectual property?
A lot of it's theft.
Really?
There's almost 1 million car thefts a year.
Yeah. A lot of cars get jacked in Kansas City. 99% of them is they left the key in the car.
Yes, and that's a majority of it, yes. Then that's even NASDAQ will tell you that. But a lot of them, the biggest thing that happens with them is, they try to jack them, get the 4G card out, they load them on chips, and they're across the sea.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
You can look it up, but there's prices in other countries for a clean car and a dirty car.
Really? Where do you look that up? What do I search for?
I forgot. I
gotta go to the dark web,
I found it at one point. I found an article at one point. This was 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
And there's information out there, but
is it like half price?
I don't know what the discount was, and that was 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know what it is now, but this is where the rings do things with cars. There's reasons for security. There's reasons to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And if we want to legitimize our industry, right?
Right. And I mean,
This
that's
is
what we
one
all
step
talk
of-
about. That's
of
what we
doing
want, right? I mean, like,
Some of us want that. There's people that don't care.
right?
They're the ones raging against, why do I need this? Why do I need that?
Right.
But I can see the argument for
But
needing it.
Well, I mean, I think if we want to pay techs more, right? We want to be able to charge appropriately for the services we offer. We want to be seen as professionals, not grease monkeys. These are steps that have to be taken, right? I mean, that's the only way around it. I mean, I guess, yeah, you're doing it without those steps in place. A lot of shops are, but there's also the guy at the Quick Lube or whatever it may be, who's still getting us all a bad reputation because he used a 3/8 impact to put the drain plug back in.
I don't think it's those guys that's the problem. It's the half-assers. It's the places that just want to do steering and suspension. That's all they want to do. And when the check engine light comes on, they'll scan it, throw the part on there, and 70% of the time it works. And people conflate your good independent repair shop that's putting the time and energy to become licensed, bonded, certified, have their ESP, get good equipment, send their people to training. They're conflating that shop that throw the part on there because the code says it to that type of repair shop, and then the customer doesn't know. They're confused. That shop's more prevalent. The steering and suspension only, slap the part in there because the code kicked on, and they're successful. Those shops have money. They're just generating a ton of revenue, pumping cars out like crazy. I think they give the shop, the industry, a terrible name.
What say you?
I don't know because I don't associate with a lot of those shops. I mean, most of my association tend to be the shops that they're doing the right thing and diagnosing the car in the right way. So I'm not as involved in that segment of the market.
But you see them come into your shop. You have to see them come into your shop. It's a shop that went the BMW that went down to a shop that had no business touching that car, trying to fix something that they had no business trying to fix. And now the car gets towed into your shop, and they've fried module A and B, and they installed that incorrectly, and that's leaking because they used the wrong gasket.
Were you at said shop when they did all that?
No, but you see the receipt, you hear the story from the customer, and then you look down and you're like, they used the wrong gasket on this, the wrong material on this, the wrong oil. They used the wrong procedure. That's why that module's fried.
Yeah,
like Mini Coopers.
Our job is just to document what we find, and we leave the rest to the
I'm not talking crap about them to the customer, but I mean, we're on an industry podcast. That shop is giving everybody a bad name because the customer doesn't understand that they have no business working on these systems of that car.
A lot of them don't know what they don't know. They don't even know what they did was incorrect. They had no training. They had no...
I don't think they're trying to.
But what sucks is they're not profitable enough to stand behind their mistake.
No, they're very profitable. That's the problem, is they're extremely profitable doing what they're doing.
They're either not profitable enough to stand behind the mistake and fix it, or they are unwilling to stand behind the mistake and fix it. Right?
I've seen extremely profitable shops. They'll tow it to a shop, and 50% of the time they'll pay for the repair because they know they screwed up. And the other 50% of the time they absolve themselves of all culpability. Say, no, it wasn't us. It wasn't our fault. There's a different problem. So that you're going to make the customer eat this $1,800 bill or whatever.
I think that's becoming less and less because I'm seeing less and less of it come into my shop. I think customers are generally getting a little smarter.
Yeah.
I think they realize that. I think in the last few years, I think customers realize how technologically advanced their cars are, and they're getting a little bit smarter about that stuff.
Right. I agree.
Maybe you're dealing with more tech savvy customers just in general because of what you do. I see it all the time. I see it all the time, and
the ones that the customer is looking for the cheapest shop, the cheapest discount. By the time that gets to you anyways, let's be honest, that's not even it's not a customer that, okay, you're going to have to fix that car, but they're going to go back to that same place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because they already know I'm expensive and they don't want to deal with me anyways.
I tell the story about the 2-star review we got, right? And I tell that story quite a bit. But, that lady, she came to us and she said the other shop, they've looked at it 3 times. They can't find that noise, blah, blah, blah. Bring it in. We look at it. And because we were more expensive, right? They didn't want to fix it that day. They just had to have the car back. If it's not a safety issue, we want the car back. Cool. Got it back to them. They left. I'd written an estimate. I went over the estimate with them. And I get a 2-star review because I'm more expensive than the other shop. And she said, I went there because they could get me right in. No, you went here because they couldn't find the problem. And now I'm more expensive. If they're not your client, they're not your client. And we brought this up yesterday when we were talking about the class. Qualifying a customer does not necessarily mean just dollars, right? So many owners think when we talk about qualifying clients that we're talking about dollar bills. No, we're talking about do you offer what that client wants? And does that client fit your mold of the client that you can serve at a high level, right? In other words, like my clients wouldn't fit well in your shop. His clients wouldn't fit well in my shop. I mean, it's just the way it works, right? You build those relationships with those people and they like what they like. So, I mean, I think qualifying a client's a whole lot bigger than just dollar bills.
What I'm really talking about is Hyundai Oil Filters.
What's a Hyundai?
Exactly.
I love Hyundais and Kias. They're good money makers. Here's the deal with the Hyundai Oil Filter.
Probably about right for you.
Hyundai.
They accept sidewall tire plugs for
It's not even me. I'm not even doing this. That's all him.
I just know how to, I have to tolerate
Twist the
so
dagger?
much. I have
What's
to
that?
tolerate so much.
He's just twisting that dagger on you, Dave.
It's okay.
You want to explain it? Do you at least want to explain it?
What?
Seth's sitting
I've
right here.
explained. I've heard the explanation. I just don't.
Don't believe it? I don't remember exactly what was going on with that. I looked at the picture after that and I went, maybe we were plugging the sidewall. I don't remember. I think he was trying to take a nail out of it initially in the picture, and that's what it looked like. But when I looked closer, I'm like, I don't remember. That tech's coming back to work for me, so I'll have to ask him. Do you remember the situation?
Are you going to set the policy in place that he's not to plug sidewalls?
We don't use those rubber plugs at all at our shop anymore because of how unreliable they are. They do tend to leak. We stopped that altogether.
Industry guideline kind of says that shouldn't be done too.
Yeah, but they still sell them, and so you still have to it's okay to sit on a pedestal and
cigarettes, and we know they cause cancer. Right?
Well, yeah, I know.
Then
I get it, but I'm not talking about from the industry. I'm talking about the customer's mindset. They're like, I don't understand why you can't ... And so, I mean, you can argue with the customer all day long, but the guy down the street's doing it, and they're like, that guy's $10 to plug a tire. It's like, well, I don't plug tires like that. I take the tire all the way off the rim. I inspect the inside of the tire. I make sure the tire is still sound because of how many people drive with low tires. And once we've determined that the tire's sound, I'm happy with it, then we'll do the plug patch combo. If I don't do that whole process, which by the way is not $10, like that takes my tech time. Like I'm not going to charge $10 to do it. The guy down the street's charging $10 and he's rolling up and you're done. Out the door you go. The reason why I brought up Hyundai Oil Filters is because when the Hyundai switched their design because of the anti-drain back valve issue, they released the TSB and they said, hey, this is the new design. If you don't do this, what's it cause? VVT problems and chain rattle, but after tens of thousands of miles. How many shops, profitable shops, I hate that narrative. It's like, these guys don't make money. I was trying not to argue with the coaches yesterday.
You argue
These
with
guys,
somebody?
depends if I'm right.
Depends if he thinks he's right.
Well, I mean, unless you're gonna throw a good argument back at me, I always think I'm right. So, but okay, that's what the point of the argument is. You kind of want to get it all out there. Anyway, so they released the TSB. They said, look, we're having a problem with our engines. This oil filter is specifically and chain rattle in the mornings, that kind of thing, yada, yada, yada. So they released this updated oil filter, and the aftermarket adapted unbelievably slow to the new design. And even to this day, I don't trust the old 1334A to fit on those vehicles. I buy OE oil filter, Kia and Hyundai oil filters, which are on their third or fourth revision. You can tell from the suffix. And so that's all I use. 90% of shops out there are not.
Right.
If you had a Hyundai come in, do you necessarily know? You maybe wouldn't even take the car in because it's not.
I wouldn't take the car in. But no, I don't know what I don't know, and that's the problem is there's so much technicality and so much little things on these cars. Trying to do too much gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I agree.
But I'm telling you, like, and here's the thing. This is the frustrating part: is as a part supplier, they sent out updated. They said, "Hey, we can't sell you the 1334A because it's an older design."
Right.
They still sold them. You know that these large shops that are just doing steering, suspension, oil changes, that are sending out discounted coupons, mass mailer. Everybody showed up. Kia, Hyundais were showing up there, getting the wrong oil filter because they had to run out of their stock, and they have so many cars in here, and they didn't care. That's my point. They didn't care to know. They didn't care to make the adjustment. They were in there for that one car, try to get as much money out the door, and then that's it. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
And that shop is giving the industry a bad name because they could give two craps about that car. That car is a $600 ticket, and if it's not, push them out the door because I need 10 more cars like that today.
I believe if they knew the problem, were educated.
We
on
were
the problem,
telling
they
them.
wouldn't do it.
We were telling them. We were going out handing out flipping papers. Don't install this oil filter. It's going to blow up these cars. The problem is it doesn't come up. The problem doesn't show up for tens of thousands of miles. And then an 80,000-mile car that had no business having a horrible chain rattle at startup has a horrible chain rattle at
But
startup.
who are you telling at the business?
The service advisor. I mean, that.
Okay, so
Sometimes the techs. Depends.
right, but if you don't get it across to the right people,
Sure.
sometimes in my shop it would be the shop foreman that will put his finger down because he's been to a class or a training, and he goes, "Oh no," and he'll go back to the servicer and go, "We're not putting that part on the car. That doesn't meet company standard."
Sure.
Maybe the service advisor forgot, but if the service advisor
exactly.
and the tech, and there's not a chain of custody of the knowledge and information, there's a check and balance because my foreman will go, "Oh no, that's not company policy. We're not doing that."
But you're setting the standard. That's my point. Is you're setting a specific quality standard at your shop. There's a shop down the street from me.
But if I don't know, about the Honda, if I don't know about the Hyundai oil filter, you just gave it to my service writer, and my foreman doesn't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right.
Your procedure is not to take the car in.
Well, yes.
Well, I mean, you're mitigating your risk there, is all I'm saying. And if you don't know the car, maybe you do a little research on the car. Because at the end of the day, like our philosophy is, I want to be able to take care of your fleet. So yeah, I mean, I've got a tech who absolutely loves Euro. So all the Euro trash that comes in gets sent to that tech. That tech will absolutely sit down and read through the service manual. That's his thing. That's his jam. He loves doing it. I don't know why. That's his thing. Where, I've got a tech who absolutely loves GM trucks, and they obsess over these vehicles. And so, yeah, they know some of these little intricacies that you wouldn't think a normal tech that just works on the car maybe doesn't know. But he's in my shop, and I've got his knowledge. And so that's our philosophy. So we do a little bit of research when we bring a car in that we don't know or not familiar enough with it. And I tried to proactively send my guys out to train.
But can you do enough research? If you put an oil filter housing on a BMW, do you bleed the oil system?
Mr. Minkler told me to.
But okay, you didn't know that probably for a long time.
Trust me.
How many cars went out the door?
Zero. Because I didn't touch the car without reaching out to a friend that that knows these. This is what I'm saying. Like, and these people are walking into these larger organizations that don't have that give a crap.
Yeah.
They don't have that. They don't have the owner it doesn't even have to be the owner, but it could be the COO who's meticulous and said, "Hey, we're not going to touch this vehicle without knowing the proper protocol. We're not going to get in there." And yeah, did we buy the one-day service information from Diva? We had to do the whole dog and pony show. And I was fully confident in what we were doing because we tried to do our very best to get as informed as possible on that vehicle before we messed with it. And yeah, it makes a second one, third one, fourth one easier. But again, our philosophy is I'm going to try to get in as many vehicles. There's some that I have no interest in working on. That thing is not.
I've got a guy that I talked to a while back who is a manager of a chain store like that, and his exact words were, "Man, it's just a car. Why do you take it so seriously?"
There you go.
Right. Some just see it that way, right? And some clients don't even care. I mean, obviously not who we're working for, but
well, there you go. I didn't think about that. Some people just don't care.
Some clients don't, yeah, and they're generally not my target. If they're, no offense, if my client's taking a BMW to you, they don't care enough about the car versus taking it to somebody like me.
You should be.
You should be. Yeah. No, but I mean, if they're taking their German car to a general repair, they don't value their car in the way that I want my clients to value their car.
I'm sorry.
Specific Euro.
Eurotech maybe in what is it, New Brighton, Minnesota? Sure. But you come out to Kansas City and you hit these Euro shops and tell me I'm not more informed, more equipped to deal with this Euro car than that shop that is quote-unquote Euro, because that guy there has no business touching anything past like 2006, because that's the last time he was in the dealership, and he has since opened his shop. I had a neighbor right around the corner from me. He worked at Jag Land Rover. Nice guy. Very successful at this point. He has, I think, 16 bays at this point. He keeps expanding out in the same strip I used to be in.
This wasn't about you, David. You're just sitting next door. So I said, if somebody takes a car to a general store like yours, they're not my customer.
What's that?
It's not about him. Everything's not about him.
Everything is about me. Yeah, everything is about me. Now, I'm telling you, like, we would get Land Rovers in. He was a Land Rover Jag specialist. That's what he knew. But he started expanding. He started hiring techs in. And I would go over there and be like, he didn't have SDD. This is all he works on. He didn't have SDD. He had no access to it, no interest in getting access to it. And when he needed SDD, guess who he brought it to? The lowly general repair shop that had no business working on Land Rovers and Jags. Why? Because I had flipping SDD. I had access to it. I had a computer set up for it. I had the whole dog and pony show. He didn't. What did he run? Some like low-level Autel. He didn't even run like a nice Autel. He ran a low-level cheap Autel, and he's like, yeah, that's enough. Is it?
Yes, it's a conversation for another day. Sounds like they're ready for us to wrap it up. They don't need you yelling in the background.
All right, I'll calm down. Seth?
What?
This was less awkward than I thought it would be.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I'm offended that it wasn't more awkward.
I could try to make it more awkward. Should I just start like taking all my clothes off and make it really awkward? I mean, I can make this really awkward for David.
I try to avoid awkward situations. I really do. This was good.
Yeah. Are you going to unblock him?
No.
Wants to know.
I think I'm going to double block him.
Seriously.
That last comment just got me riled up.
Double secret block. Like there's a
double secret. I'm going to create new profiles just to block you.
Oh, you're going to start getting friend requests from random people now.
You're just, yeah.
Watch out for somebody named Paul Meadow.
Paul Meadow. Yeah.
Paul Meadow.
Eminem and Ike.
That's it. Guys, thank you so much.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the ASOG podcast. If you'd like to catch these episodes early, you can do so by becoming a patron. Just go to asog.site and click on the Become a Patron Now button. Becoming a patron helps support the show, gets you several perks, and is tax deductible. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and on YouTube so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot me an email. My email address is david@asog.site. That's david@asog.site. Until next time.